Welcome back. Now, yesterday was a busy day in the courts. It had to do with political matters. You had that case of the nullification of the PDP governorship election primaries ahead of the Edo governorship elections in the court. And the court nullified the primaries of the People's Democratic Party for... Well, you get to know the reasons why that happened. And that's all we're going to start out our conversation with today. And sitting in the studio here with us is Adeyemi Kamaldeen Ajibade, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who's a legal advisor to the People's Democratic Party and former Attorney General in Kwara State. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. So before we get into this, the judgment yesterday that nullified your primaries in Edo State, let's start out with the other case that also happened yesterday, the appeal court judgment in Rivers State. What's your take on that?
Well, I think the media was misinformed about both judgments.
Really?
Yes, both that of Rivers and Edo. To start with Rivers, what went before the Court of Appeal is purely issue bordering on jurisdiction of the State High Court. If you remember, it was the State High Court that gave an injunction restraining the defected member, restraining them from performing duties, having defected from their political party. So the matter actually before the State High Court was not issue of defection. The issue was, having defected, you should no longer carry out your duties and restrain the state government. So what actually happened before the Court of Appeal yesterday, the judgment was purely on issue of jurisdiction. The Court of Appeal held that owing to provision of section 272, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended 1999, that the State High Court has no jurisdiction to dabble into issue of defection of members of House of Assembly. So the matter was not heard on the merit. It was not heard on the merit. There's nowhere in that judgment where the judgment pronounced that they are members or they've not defected, they still remain members. No. Once a court declined jurisdiction, then whatever happened thereafter, they said the court will not make any pronouncement on that. So that was exactly what happened in that of Rivers. So it's purely issue of jurisdiction that occurred.
So let's come back to the Edo matter, which is why you're sitting down here. So the court has said that, let me just read what he said here. The court held that though INEC first filed a memorandum of appearance in the suit, it was unfortunate that the commission did not file any process in that case. That's about INEC. But for your party, that the exhibit tendered by the party was bereft of evidence. So that you tendered an evidence to say you actually held a primary, but it was bereft of evidence.
Well, as counsel in the matter, because I led the team of PDP, I wouldn't want to go into analyzing the judgment or criticizing the judgment or whatever. But all I'm here to do is to correct the impression and also to caution media houses. Because what happened yesterday, a lawyer came out of the court and addressed the press that the court has nullified the primary of PDP and that the court has restrained Asue Godalo and disqualified him from contesting the election. That was not the position. The judgment of the court did not even make any pronouncement on Godalo. The judgment of the court did not talk about the primary of PDP. What the judgment of the only order which the court made there was a mandatory injunction, and that's what they asked for. The court is not for that Christmas. So don't bother with the content. I don't want to go into the content or what happened or how we arrive here or there.
Why? Why not? Because it is the content that gives us exactly what he said.
Because you don't have capacity to review the judgment of the court here.
No, we heard what the court said.
Yes.
And he just read out for you what the court said.
Yes.
And you're saying that it is wrong? Is what the court said that we have listened to since yesterday, are you saying that that is wrong?
The decision of the court, that is what should concern you. You should be concerned with the decision of the court. What was the decision of the court? Did you hear the court pronounce? If you have your media in court, present in court, did the court pronounce that the primary of PDP held in Edo has been nullified.
Okay, so
no,
help us walk through it.
Yes.
So what was said in that court?
What was said in the decision of the court was only one decision that was taken, that was read out, and that is mandatory injunction restraining first, second, third, and fourth from excluding the delegates. That is the plaintiff, from participating in the primary of the party, and no more.
What does that mean?
Well, I don't know which primary they're talking about now, because the primary has been concluded. There was no consequential order.
If a primary has been concluded, yes, and they said these people are restrained from participating in that primary that has been concluded.
No, they're not restrained from participating. That we are injuncted. We should allow them to participate.
Doesn't that mean that primary was nullified?
No, you don't read into that. If you go back to Section 84, subsection 14 of the Electoral Act, that was what the new Electoral Act has come to cure. It has come to cure the fact that in the past, you find somebody that did not participate in primary coming to challenge the primary in court, nullifying primary, creating problem in the electoral process. And that was the essence of introducing that Section 84, subsection 14, that gave that whoever, an aspirant is the only competent person to question a primary election. These people you are talking about, they said they are delegates. If you read the provision of Section 84, I'm sure maybe you have a copy there of the Electoral Act 2022, you can see what he said. He's only an aspirant that's dissatisfied. It's a different ballgame entirely. If, for example, an aspirant that participated in the election came before the court and saying that, look, these plaintiffs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, accredited delegates were not allowed to participate in the primary because of this, nullify this primary, because if they have participated in this primary, they would have voted for me. But it was the other way around.
So you know, with everything that happened,
yes,
what it did, you're saying media houses were misinformed.
Yes.
Now, with everything that happened, the consequence of the information that the media houses and every newspaper really today has carried is that, okay, so we stay looking at parallels. Before Edo State's PDP goes through what happened in Zamfara State APC with the primaries situation. So people stay getting scared. Is the PDP going to have a candidate? It's in September, isn't it? Is the PDP going to have a candidate in September? Are they going to lose all their seats? Talk to us about what you think is going to happen come September with the PDP in the governorship elections.
Certainly, we have a candidate in Edo, in Asue, Ighodalo. This judgment has not disqualified our candidate. This judgment has not set aside the primary we conducted. It's a different ball game, which I explained earlier. If it was an aspirant that approached the court, asking that, look, my people have been disenfranchised. Because of this number of my people that were disenfranchised, that was why this election should be set aside, and that not even declaring, but ordering a fresh primary. So that is the position. But with this judgment you are talking about, the judgment to me is hanging in the air.
I mean, people need to understand, sorry to butt in there, because you are the national legal advisor of the People's Democratic Party. So just so we can get it clear from you, your candidate, Mr. Ighodalo, is going to run in September.
Is going to run, by God's grace.
Okay, and then there are no fears from the People's Democratic Party that you may lose out?
There are no fears.
No fears whatsoever?
No fears whatsoever. Even on this issue you talked about, I'm just, as a senior lawyer, I don't want to come to television to argue cases. Okay. And that's why you see me so careful that I don't want to go into the matter. This is not the only matter before Honorable Justice Eko on the issue of Edo. There are 3 cases before Justice Eko. He has dispensed with 2. And the 2 also bordered on the issue of delegates. The preliminary objection we filed, that we said that, look, owing to provision of Section 84, subsection 14, these people has no local standard to question the issue of the primary whatsoever. He upheld them in the other cases, the 2 cases. Judgment was handed down in April, just recently, April, May. But in this case, in his lordship wisdom, overruled our preliminary objection.
Okay, so let's again.
I don't want to go into analyzing or criticizing a judgment as counsel. As senior counsel, it won't be ethical.
We understand that. But let's look at this matter as regards clarity. Let's understand some things here. So in that judgment, the court held that on the suit filed by Honorable Kelvin Mohammed Gabriel Osai, Okodua, and Edairo Osage for themselves and on behalf of 378 others, whose names and election results appear on Exhibit A, 8A to 8L. The judge said there is no doubt that the second defendant, your party, did not comply with the relevant provisions of its own constitution.
That's the way the judge sees it.
That's the way the judge sees it.
That's the way he sees it.
In your constitution, were these guys legally, by your constitution, supposed to be in that primary?
No.
Why were they not supposed to be there?
Because we have our delegates, which we exhibited. I don't want to go into the nitty of this matter because I want to argue my case before you hear. No, which is it's not ethical at all. So please, if you can just pardon me, I don't want to go into what we have done or this to say whether the judge did not do this or do that. I don't want to. I want you to just excuse me on that. But what I want you to be concerned with, and what really bothers me, is the fact that if the media houses, if they have their judicial correspondence in court, when did the judge pronounce that Asue Godalo has been disqualified from running election or the primary that produced him has been set aside?
Okay, but our correspondent reports that the court declared the primary that produced Ighodalo invalid.
Invalid.
Is that not what the judge said?
That's not what the judge said.
They will respond to you.
Yes,
because you know a lot of legal correspondence. Let me finish.
Let me finish. How will you feel? Just like it happened in Edo in Rivers the last time, when all the media houses reported that a judge of the federal court, having handed that judgment, has pronounced the Emeule-led this thing as members of PDP. Is that not what came out? Until you saw the enroll order. But you have misled the public.
No.
Already. Let me.
No.
Let me
that wasn't what happened yesterday. It wasn't every
No,
media.
let me finish.
You made a blanket statement, and that wasn't what happened yesterday. Not every media house reported that. We didn't report that. We said
reported that.
No, we didn't. We did not. We said that judgment was on jurisdiction of the other court.
No, I'm not talking.
And it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with the seats.
No, I'm not talking of Rivers now. The aspect I was talking about is the other matter at the federal court, where the judge in Rivers, it was reported that the judge in Rivers has affirmed the Martin Emeule-led as members of PDP. That was what reported, but that was
we didn't report that either.
That was a case.
That was another matter.
We didn't report that either.
The Attorney General of Rivers came out and now brought out the certified true copy of the enroll order.
And he did that here.
Here.
Yes.
And in the enroll order, there was nothing like that. The same thing. How will you feel if later today or Monday you have the CTC, certified true copy, of the judgment of Justice Eko, and you did not see anything in that judgment that talked about nullifying the PDP primary or disqualifying Ighodalo from participating? How will you feel? And that's the more reason that media should not rush.
So with the judgment of yesterday, where do things stand?
The judgment of yesterday talked about mandatory injunction, restraining first, second, third, fourth, from excluding these people from participating in the primary of February 22 or any other date. That was what the court pronounced.
What does that mean again?
It doesn't mean at this moment.
It doesn't mean anything.
At this moment, it doesn't mean anything. That judgment is hanging in here. If you are talking of injunction of over an act that has been concluded, there are things that I don't want to really go into arguing because it's a case that eventually moved to court of appeal.
You're very willing to go into some things.
I don't want to
go into some other things.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Because when we now say, okay, what does that mean? You say, no, I don't want to go into it. But then you say, no, it means that this...
The meaning, you say, what does that mean?
Yes, what does that mean?
It doesn't mean...
Anything?
To the primary.
Hold on. Yes. A primary held.
Yes.
The judge said, look, you cannot exclude so and so from participating in that primary that I held. Doesn't that nullify that primary?
It doesn't nullify the primary.
I asked you this before. You said no.
It doesn't nullify the primary.
What if you're wrong?
There must be a specific order.
What if you're wrong?
There must be a specific order from the court.
What if you're wrong?
Let me tell you, if a court did not make a pronouncement on a particular issue, you cannot go to, you cannot go enforce, because if you are enforcing, you are enforcing the judgment of the court And you must read into the judgment of the court, what the court says.
What if you're wrong?
What if
you're wrong in your assertions right now? What if you're wrong and then by September you'll be blamed for not doing the right thing at the right time?
What is the right thing that you are talking about I've not done? No, what is the right thing? The right thing you want me to say now is to say that Ighodalo is disqualified and is no longer to run in our party. If that's what you're expecting, you are failing.
Mr. Ajibade, this conversation will be going back and forth because it looks like you're trying to, yes, being the senior lawyer, you're trying to be very careful not to say what the courts did not say. But we're also trying to be careful to remind you that our reporter was in court, and there are some things, quotes from the judge's rulings that I read out to you, and you said, did the judge say that? Did you agree that the judge said that PDP did not follow its own constitution in running this primary?
And that's what I said, in the wisdom of the judge.
Yes.
You understand?
You agree.
That's the way he sees.
So if you do not follow, and the law says that the parties must abide by their constitutions, right?
Yes.
So if you did not follow your own constitution in running the primary,
you will not understand what I'm talking about. It's a different thing where a case is reviewed down. At the end of your review of the matter by the judge, what was the order?
So it's the order you're concerned about.
It is
and the order
did
not invalidate the PDP.
It did not. And that's why I asked you a question. I said, I haven't put up a very screaming headline that Ighodalo has been disqualified, PDP primary has been nullified. If by the time you receive the CTC of that judgment, and you don't find that there, how will you retract that?
Okay, I think I want to.
The damage.
Our colleague in
the damage the media houses have caused.
Over to you.
Will have caused the party.
Well, you know, Mr. Ajibade,
my position.
Yeah, one of the things that's playing in my head about this particular issue that you have raised is what the implication is. I'm glad you continue to remind us that you're a senior lawyer, and I'm sure that one way or the other, you're also a mentor to other legal practitioners. You're an interested party in the case, so it is understandable that you want to help us, get us to understand some things. So on the one hand, according to what we are reading here, it says that the judge nullified the process that produced the results that you are talking about. Is that correct?
No. So
what is correct?
There's no pronouncement as such.
Okay. So when the judgment says that the court faulted the process, talking about the fact that certain delegates were excluded, were not allowed to do the needful, what is the implication of that?
What I'm talking, you see, Ayo, what I'm talking about, I will just be repeating myself. What I said was that I haven't reviewed the matter. What was the decision of the court? I believe that's what you should be concerned with. And that is what the public should be concerned with. And that is what will be enforceable. You don't go into the body of judgment where there is obiter or whatever, like what happened in Rivers, and start using that as an issue. Okay. My concern here is that did the court pronounce nullifying the primary that produced Ighodalo? No.
Okay, listen to this. Part of the declaration, and please correct if it is wrong. A declaration is hereby made that by virtue of the provisions of Article 50, sub 3 of the Constitution of the second defendant, as amended in 2017, the plaintiffs, together with the lawfully elected delegates, are the lawfully elected Ward Congress delegates in their respective wards, and by virtue of which the delegates cannot exclude them from participating as 3 ad hoc ward delegates at the governorship primary election of Edo State. That is one of the declarations. What does that mean? Give us an understanding.
You see, the legal position, and that's why I said I don't want to go into argument or analyzing or saying this or criticizing the judgment of the court.
Well, this is not a criticism. Just a minute, Mr. Ajibade.
No,
this is not a criticism. Just one second. This is not, you are educating us. You are an interested party, yes, but you are also educating the public on what these things imply. As I said, and as you also said, you are a senior lawyer, And so many people are going to be waiting on you and trying to help get an understanding of what this all means, irrespective of whether or not you are an interested party in this.
Not just an interested party, Ayo. That's why I'm very being careful, being dragged. I really understand what you are saying, so that I can come out from my shell to say there are people that they're looking onto me, they want to learn. No, that is not the issue. I'm not just an interested party. I'm a lead counsel for PDP in that case. When you receive the judgment, you see my name. And so it will be unethical for me now. What I've argued before him, I will criticize him, tell him that the way the judge has done this is not right, or the way that this is a matter that will eventually end on appeal.
Okay, so what are the people to expect now? Because part of what we understand so far is that more than 300 delegates were excluded. Is that correct? The
question now is that you want to drag me to a place that I want to.
No, it's just a question. It's just a question we're asking.
Let me finish, Ayo. Let me finish. I don't want to do this, but I will go into this one. What I want you to know is that, is it the court that we give a political party a delegate, or is a political party, because we exhibited a list of our delegates, which was certified through copy of the list of our delegates, and that's why I said, in the wisdom of the trial judge, that is the way he sees it. So it behoves on us to do the needful in the matter. But where I'm going here is that, for any media house to go out there to say that the judgment nullifies the primary of the PDP, that is an aspect I'm saying that is not right.
Okay, two things very quickly.
Yeah.
One, were there delegates that were excluded in the process? Forget what the result of the judgment. So there were no delegates that were excluded.
There were no delegates that were excluded.
Okay.
Yes.
So what informed then these presentations before the court?
Yeah, politician, you're asking what informed it. You know what politician we want to do now. You are a media man, so you know the way the game is being played. Yes.
It's
we
interesting.
Have our delegate, authentic delegate list, and we certify our delegate list, and by every standard and by judgment of both appellate court and even Supreme Court, is the political party that determine who are delegates, and we exhibited our delegate list.
So, Mr. Ajibade, another order of the court says an order of mandatory injunction is hereby made, restraining the first, second, and third defendants from unlawfully excluding the plaintiffs and the other lawfully elected delegates whose names and election results appear on the exhibits in the governorship election primaries of the second defendant, slated for the date that was also made known. Now, we say this, and I think it's one of the things that you say in law, you don't put something on nothing. So if the process has been faulted by the court, what then can be placed upon it?
Ayo, let me enlighten you about the way the legal process. Let me do the devil's advocate itself. If it's not because we have a time is of the essence of in election matters, then maybe it might be possible for any of the aspirants to pick up that judgment and go to court with that judgment. But 14 days has lapsed. You can't use it.
So in the event, and you've talked about an appeal, in the event that these decisions, these orders, indicate that indeed your candidate has been indeed, in the event that it so happens that a higher court nullifies the election or selection of your candidate in the Edo governorship elections, what happens?
Let me explain something to you. It will not happen. Let me explain one thing. This is not the first time we're having this kind of issue. If you follow our cases, particularly the 2023 election, we had a case, that is a case, Ifeanyi in OD against INEC. It went up to Supreme Court on the same almost on the same issue. There are borders on issue of delegates. The Supreme Court has pronounced on that. And recently, we have another matter in the issue of Silas Onu and INEC. The same thing in Ebonyi. The Court of High pronounced on that and says that it's purely an internal affairs of a political party. And also the issue of locus, because you have to come back to section 84 of section 14. Who has the locus to challenge a primary? 84:14 says he's only an aspirant. What is the purport of that provision? He's only an aspirant. In the other cases that we argued before the same Justice Seku, he upheld a primary objection to say that in delegate election that they don't have locus. So that was why I said in the wisdom of Milord, he has in one case gave us judgment that the people that came before the court on the issue of Congress has no locus. On this one, he says they have locus. So that is in his own wisdom. We don't have anything to say there, but just to tell you that that particular case, we are going to appeal against it.
Okay. Now, how?
You said it's of no relevance.
It doesn't matter. It might not have, but we cannot keep it there. You can't keep it there.
What's your appeal going to be?
Yes.
If you said it was nothing.
The appeal is that the plaintiff has no local standard
Okay.
to even bring the matter.
Okay.
Yes.
No, so one of the questions that I would also want to ask then is, I mean, it's clear that there is something that may have gone the way it ought not to have gone. In your opinion, and as legal advisor to your political party, what are the things that may not have gone right in the process that produced the candidate that you have at this moment? Even before the court order.
Nothing has gone wrong. Our primary was held, and I'm sure Channels was one of the media houses that covers the primary at Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium. That I'm surprised some of the questions you're asking me. You were there, you cover that event, and you also witnessed to the fact that the delegates were accredited in Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium. The election took place. The other candidate, maybe sure the former, did not participate. You saw, you were there. So there was nothing to be afraid of about our primary.
So what then do you make of the judgment, the orders that have been granted so far? Now, you're saying that it doesn't hold water, but then you are still going to appeal it. What does that mean?
Yes. That is our work. We have to go on appeal, notwithstanding. Whether it holds water, whether it doesn't hold water, we can get to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal may say, no, this is academics, or this is this, but certainly we'll go on appeal. We cannot leave the judgment hanging.
Now, you may also want to speak to the fact that in the PDP in Edo State, there are some people that are not very, very happy. If that be the case, is there any move to assuage frayed nerves?
Yes, the party, the national headquarters, has set up a reconciliatory committee headed by His Excellency, the Governor of Bauchi State. Yes, and I'm sure he's taking steps and they're moving around to make sure they assuage the frayed nerves and to talk to our people to come back together. You see, it's normal in this kind of issue where you know that you have a winning party. The struggle for the ticket will be very, very fierce. You know that. Yes.
Well, what are the issues, in your own opinion, that need to be resolved before the election?
It's just reconciliation. Telling people to come back together.
Yes, I get that, but what are the issues that informed a need for reconciliation?
Because we have people that are not happy. Certainly, you in every political party, you find that. Once a primary is conducted, those that it's not everybody that has the body to really take a loss.
You know, it's interesting,
So,
Mr. Ajibade. It's interesting that you put it that way, that some people are definitely not going to be happy. And that, of course, is politics. But it's only in a very few number of states that we have such occurrences, one of them being Edo State. I don't know if I've heard any such disagreements in certain other political parties maybe in Lagos, in Oyo, in a number of other places like that. There are always internal mechanisms. There are supposed to be internal mechanisms that should forbid such things getting to the point where members of your party take the party to court. So I'm just wondering if what happened with those mechanisms that informed them, the members of your party being so displeased as to go to court and get this kind of what you call, confusing orders of court.
Yes. Ayo, we have internal mechanism of resolving issues. But I must tell you that it is not in every way that works out. There are people you will talk to, there are people you try to reconcile, there are people that will tell you, I'm okay, it's fine, and the next day you see another thing. It's part of political parties, this thing. And you know, there are also, when you talk of all these issues, there are infiltration from other political parties. You should know that. You have infiltration from other political parties that believe that the only way to weaken this popular candidate is by doing this with the other people that are not happy with his emergence. So it's not a new thing in politics.
So are you implying that this matter before the court is instigated by the opposition party?
I said it's possible. It's possible. I don't want to go into that, but it's possible. Yes.
No, this is not the first time the PDP has been accused of not going by its own constitution in terms of running primaries and all of that. So how is it that this is like a recurring decimal that goes before the court?
A popular political party will always have this kind of issue. It's not that when anybody comes to tell you that the party is not following constitution and that is the correct position. You see, when there's struggle for power, particularly struggle for ticket, people go, they do whatever at that point.
I was careful with the choice of words.
Yes.
This appears to be a recurring decimal. You have people going to court to say the party is not going by its own constitution to guide it in running these primaries. Why does that seem to always occur? And you say it's because of the struggle for power?
Yeah, it happened like that. Struggle for power. Let me ask you, I told you, I said we have 3 cases before Justice Eko. The 2 other matters that Eko gave false judgment, is it not bothered on the issue of constitution of our party? And that's why I said I don't really want to go and talk too much. We have 3 cases there.
These 300
we want to.
These 381 delegates that were excluded when the primary is held.
I'm sure they are spirits.
This didn't happen.
They are spirits. Yes.
Okay, so because the judge actually mentioned them, so the judge was talking about spirits then.
Yeah,
he said the exclusion of the 381 delegates, including the plaintiffs, were against the provisions of the law.
Yeah, they are spirits.
So there's no truth to what the judge said then.
Deep down
okay, and then the judge also said something very interesting. He said that from the exhibit that was presented by the PDP, the returning officers who prepared the result sheets only sat down in a place and manufactured the outcome of the poll. Also, is this true? Is there any truth to what the judge said on this one?
The question is that, is the judge himself? Then let me make some statement. I don't want to you want to drag me to something?
I'm not trying to drag you into anything. I'm just telling you what the judge said.
I don't want to be dragged into that.
Okay.
I don't want to make some statement.
So what exactly do you want to be?
Because I know that the judge is saying that, but the question from what you are reading, that was not said by the plaintiff.
Yeah, it was a judge.
It was the judge saying it.
Yes.
For the plaintiff.
No, you're saying the judge was speaking on behalf of the plaintiff.
I don't want to.
But that's what you just said. You said the judge was speaking for the plaintiff.
Look,
so you're accusing the judge of...
No, I'm not.
Okay, but the judge said these things, though.
I'm not accusing the judge.
But you heard when the judge said these things.
What I'm saying is that what you just read out, was it said position of the plaintiff? It
was the position of the judge.
That's why you've answered the question yourself.
Okay. So you're saying, but the judge was wrong to say these things. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I've not said.
Because you see, if we're looking, the reason why you're all here is because you are the legal You are the legal advisor for your party. Now, if these things are happening, and Nelson just mentioned it to you, you didn't answer that question directly. He said, if it keeps recurring, these things keep happening, the internal democracy, adhering to the rules of your party is always being attacked by people who are disenfranchised. They believe they were disenfranchised by your party. Isn't that something that as the legal department of the PDP you should actually look into?
It's not the job, it's not the job of the legal department.
It's not the job of the legal department to make sure that the rules of the party are adhered to?
Yes, the rules of the party have been adhered to. So it is now left. You see all these issues. Most of the time, when you see a popular political party, particularly as you find it in Edo today, everyone knows that whoever picks the ticket of PDP will win the election. And that is one. Then people looking at the popularity of Asue Godalu, you should know that I talked about infiltration into even members of PDP in order to weaken and even discourage, just like the media.
Knowing all of this,
yes,
knowing all these things that you mentioned, doesn't it behove on you to ensure that these loopholes are blocked?
I don't know why you want to believe that we did not follow the rules. You see, anybody can go to court and say you did not do this. It's an issue of politics. That is the way you play it in this country. You know it. Yeah. A lot is happening. Yes, of course. We have done presidential election. We have done a lot. You saw everything.
Okay, so in all the other elections you've done, you did not abide by your own rules.
We abide by the rules. That's what I'm saying. So if anybody is coming out to say we have not abide by the rules because he lost out or something, people can always use any means. You know the way politics is being played. Yeah. Yes.
You know, someone says only in the political space that you have the one in charge always correct. Every other person is wrong.
Exactly. Have you ever seen a politician that tell you that I lost? It's either it's rigged out. Have you heard that before?
I mean, I like the fact that you're really confident in all of this, because one of the biggest fears would be that the PDP may lose out.
I know you love our candidate. There's no fear.
There's no fear.
There's no fear, yes.
If you come back,
I'll come back here, but come and celebrate.
We'll come and celebrate.
You'll come and celebrate.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We'll be waiting to see how that works out.
Thank you very much.
You know, before we let you go, just a quick one here. Kayla made a statement earlier, and I actually wrote it down because it struck me. It says, the law doesn't change the heart, it will tame the heartless. Yeah. The constitution of your party is considered the law of your party, so to speak. And going by what we understand the judge said your party did not exactly go in line with its own laws. And this, I use an example that it's something that has happened over and over and over again. But you said that's not the situation here. So as we wind down, what's the way forward for the PDP in Edo State? You say, I mean, the reports out there is that the judge annulled the process that led to the result.
Not only.
The process that led to the result.
You are changing the goalposts now.
No, I didn't change the goalposts. But that's what we reported.
That's not the breaking you have.
No.
That's not the breaking. The breaking you have is that the court nullifies. That's the breaking.
No, if the process that led to a result is wrong, I mean, in mathematics they say show working. So you show you're working, and the result 2 plus 2 is.
In the judgment we don't show working.
You don't show working.
You go to the decision.
But that's what the judge said.
No, you go to the decision.
Okay.
Okay, so the decision is that the process. Okay, the decision is that the process that led to that.
If my phone is here, I will have read exactly the way the decision was made at you. Yes.
So what's the way forward right now?
The way forward is we continue our campaign and we tell all our members and all our supporters of Godalu that Godalu remain the PDP candidate and our primary election remain valid. That's the message.
Okay. I want to thank you so much for coming in this morning, Mr. Adeyemi Kamaldeen Ajibade, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Legal Advisor to the People's Democratic Party and former Attorney General in Kwara State. Thank you for coming in. We do hope that the PDP will go on, while you are appealing this judgment, you say does not exactly affect your primary.
It doesn't.
I hope it works out well for you.
Very well. I assure you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, politicians, Kayla, please. Maybe you should try going into politics.
No.
Kayla wouldn't be able to do
No,
that.
I will not be able to.
Yeah.
I'm not cut out for it at all.
Thank you so much for coming today. Sunrise Daily, we'll take a moment and dive into the business segment, and when we'll come back, we'll look at another matter that happened at the courts again yesterday. Don't go away.